My dear students, in the previous class we completed inheritance chapter, right? So in unit B still there is two chapter left, that is pointers and data file handling. Now we shall move to new chapter today, that is chapter number 4, data structure, right? It is a unit A chapter. We already discussed two chapters in unit A, that is first one Boolean algebra, second one logical gates, and now we are going to discuss chapter number 4, data structure, which comes under unit A, right? So according to PU board, this chapter requires 15 hours to complete and we get 14 marks for the annual examination, right? So first let us see what is the mean by data structure. What is the mean by data structure? Data structure is a organized collection of number of related data items that are treated as one by the computer. See here what he says. Data structure is a organized collection of related data items that are treated by one by the computer. It means data structure is a collection of organized collection of number of related data items. Number of related data items means simply collection of data is not a data structure. Collection of related data structure. Collection of related data items are treated as one by the computer. So such data is called data structure. Means we can say in another word, data structure is a specialized format for organizing and storing data. This is another definition. What is the data structure? Data structure is a specialized format for organizing and storing data. Means usually in the computer, suppose we want to store something, means obviously we are going to use memory, right? Means whatever we are going to enter, that thing is going to be stored in a memory. So what is this data structure? Why we have to study it? Means he says data structure is a specialized format for organizing and storing data. It means suppose we have to enter some 10 items or 10 things, something in such a way that suppose we are entering elements like this. Means now I want remove first inserted element. Suppose this is a memory space. I am entering first 4 and afterwards I am entering 3 and afterwards I am entering 2 and lastly I am entering this 1. Now I want remove first this 4. How it is possible? It is possible. That is, I have to use a concept called queue. I have to use a concept called queue. Means I am entering first 4, afterwards I am entering 3, afterwards I am entering 2 and afterwards I am entering 1. Now I want to delete first inserted element. Then it is possible to use using the concept called queue. Suppose I want delete last inserted element, that is 1 is the last inserted element. Now I want to delete first last inserted element. Means I want to delete this 1 which is stored in memory, which is lastly stored in memory. Now I want to delete it first. Means now I want to remove this 1 first from the memory. How it is possible? Whether it is possible? Yes, it is possible with the concept called stack. With the concept called stack means, why we have to study data structure means, by studying the data structure we can store as well as remove elements. We can store elements into the memory as well as we can delete elements from the memory our convenient. So to store to organize data as well as store data from the memory according to our convenient is possible by studying this data structure, right? So why we have to study data structure means, why what is the data structure means? Data structure is a specialized format for organizing and storing the data, right? So till now just we are going to use computer memory, and whatever we are going to enter, that thing is going to be stored in memory. That thing we know, right? So such concepts we want to do such operations means first inserted element will be removed first means we have to study queue concept. First last inserted element removed first means we have to study stack concept. So such concepts will be there. Learning such concepts we can so to learn such concepts we have to study some concepts. By studying some concepts like stack, queue and linked list, it is possible to organize the data as well as store data and access that data. So that's why we have to study data structure. What he says, just see once again definition of data structure. A data structure is an organized collection of a number of related data items that are treated as one by the computer. Or another definition he says, a data structure is a specialized format for organizing and storing data. So suppose we have to store as well as remove data according to our need means we have to study some concepts. By studying concepts called stack, queues and linked list and many more, it is possible to store data according to our convenient. So this is possible by studying this data structure, right? Okay. And he says a data structure is a method of storing data in memory so that it can be used efficiently. The study of data structure mainly deals with first point, why we have to study this data structure means, see here, first point, logical or mathematical description of data of an organization. First point, why, what he says, the study of data structure mainly deals with logical or mathematical description of data of an organization. Second point, implementation of structure on a computer. Implementation of structure on a computer. And we can say third one, analysis of structure, which includes determining amount of space in memory and optimization of time taken for processing, right? So these 3 points indicates data structure, how that data structure deals, means this data structure deals with the following 3 points. And now let us see various terms used in data structure. Means what are the commonly used terms in data structure? You may get 1 mark questions. Define record, define fields, define entity, define data, define information. Means for 1 mark question means what we are going to list right now, these are the most commonly used terms in data structure. Let us see what are those. second topic, that is various terms used in data structure, right? Terms, meaning, right? What are those terms? Let us see first one, data. Second one, information. Third one, data item. Fourth one, group item. Fifth one, entity. And sixth one, field. Seventh one, record. Eighth one, file. See here. So these are what various terms used in the study of data structure. Means now we started to discuss or to study the data structure, right? So these are the common structures, these are the common terms. These are the various terms comes under the study of data structure. For the annual examination, you may get any one question on these. For example, define field, define record. Like this, you are going to get one question from these terms. These are the most commonly used terms in the study of data structure, right? What are those? First one, data. Second one, information. Third one, data item. Fourth one, group item. Fifth one, entity. Sixth one, field. Seventh one, record. And finally, eighth one, that is file. Now, let us see what is the meaning of each term, right? So, first one is data. Data is nothing but value or a set of values. A value or set of values is called a data. For example, 25, 25, or you take any, means a value or set of value is called a data. Means 25, or you can take set of values like 5, 10, 15, 20, 17, like this set of values. That is nothing but group of values is considered as data, right? And the next thing, information. Information means meaningful or processed data. Meaningful or processed data is considered as information. For example, first one, data, for example, 25. So what is the information means? This information gives a meaningful data or processed data. For example, we consider the data as 25. We don't know what is 25, whether it is simply a number or it is a particular roll number of a student or just a pocket money which is present right now. We don't know, it may be anything, right? So that thing is called, means indefinite thing is called data, right? Indefinite value indefinite thing is called data. What is information means meaningful data or processed data is considered as information. For example, my roll number is 25. It has a meaning, right? So this is nothing but a information. Previously you consider a data 25. 25 is a data, that's it. We don't know what it is exactly. But you consider a second line, that is my roll number is 25. From this sentence what we conclude or what we can decide, that 25 is a roll number of that student. Means this sentence has a meaning. So such things are called information. Such thing is called information. Now consider third one, data item. Means single unit of value. Single unit of value. Single unit of value means, suppose data item means single unit of value. For example, consider a table. Consider a table. Roll number, name, marks, right? Like this. Some X, Y, Z, M, 35, 75, 45, 90, right? So what is the data item means? Single unit of value. Single unit of value. You take anything, single unit of value. Single unit of value is considered as data item. You take any single one, any single data, it is considered as data item. You consider this Z or you consider this 35. The single unit of value is considered as data item. Next, group item. Group item means data items that are divided into sub items. Data item that are divided into sub item. What is this? Group item means data item that are divided into sub item is considered as group item. Next one is he says entity. What is an entity? He says something that has certain attributes or properties which may have assigned value. Means entity means something that has a certain attribute, something that has an attribute or properties, right? He says, what is an entity? Entity means something that has an attributes or properties which may have assigned values, which may have assigned values. For example, this overall table may be considered as entity, because he says entity means something that has certain attributes. Attributes means columns, right? We can say attributes are columns or properties which may have some assigned value. Means here, what are the attributes? What are the columns? Columns means roll number, name, marks. These are the attributes, right? So these are what? Attributes. Attributes or properties or column, right? So what is an entity? Entity is a entity, something that has certain attributes, means certain columns which may have assigned values. Means see here some columns are there, some attributes are there like roll number, name and marks. These are the attributes or columns, and these columns has some value, right? Roll number means it may be 7, 8, 9, 10, name X, Y, Z, M, marks. So see here in this table, roll number, name and marks are the attributes or columns, and they have some assigned values, right? Each attribute have some assigned values. So such thing is called entity. Means a table may be considered as entity, because what he says, entity means something that has an attributes or properties or columns with assigned values is called entity. So here attributes are there. Attribute means columns are there, and each column has some assigned value. So such thing is called an entity, right? And next one is called field, right? Field. What is a field? A single elementary unit of information representing an attribute of an entity. Means single elementary unit of information. Single elementary unit of information, right? What is the field? He says single elementary unit of information of an attribute in an entity is called field. Means, for example, you take this is a field. This is a field because this is a roll number field. This is a name field. This is a marks field. Means what he says, field means single elementary unit of information representing an attribute of an entity is called field. Representing an attribute means these are the attributes, these are the columns. This particular attribute is called field. Means column is considered as field, right? And what is a record? Collection of field values of a given entity. Collection of field values of a given entity. What is a record? Collection of a field values of a given entity. Collection of field values of a given entity, right? Collection of field values. Collection of field values, right? Collection of field values of a given entity is called a record. Means what it mean? Row of a table is called a record. For example, see here, collection of field values of a given entity. See here, suppose you consider 8y and 25, right? So here collection of field values of a given entity. So this is the overall, this is called entity. So this is nothing but collection of field values, right? This is one field, this is another field, this is another field. So collection of field values. So this is one field value, this is another field value, this is also another field value. So such thing means row of a table is considered as record. Means this is one record, right? 8y7 75. And finally file, collection of records collection of records of an entity is called a file. Means this overall information is called a file. How means, what he says, file is a collection of records of the entities in a given entity set. Means this is nothing but a field. Means one row is called a field, second row is called another field, third row is called another field. So collection of fields means collection of rows makes a file. Collection of records makes a file, right? So these are the most commonly used terms in the study of data structures. These are the most commonly used terms in the study of data structure. As I said earlier, you may get 1 mark question among these terms: define entity, define information, define data, or define file. Like this, you may get 1 mark question in the examination on these most commonly used terms. Now let us see what is mean by data representation. What is mean by data representation? It is very simple. See here, computer memory is used to store data which is required for processing. This process, that is using of computer memory to store data, is known as data representation, right? Third point is data representation. What is the data representation? He says computer memory is used to store the data which is required for processing. Processing means working, right? This process, that is using of computer memory to store data, is known as data representation. Means data representation means to store the information we are going to use computer's memory. So using of computer memory to store data is known as data representation. Data may be same type or different type. Same type means it is also called, there are 2 types of data. Data may be same type or different type. Suppose same type of data means such data is called homogeneous data. Suppose data is a different type, one int value, one float value, one char value. Like this, data type is a collection of data which is a different type. It is called heterogeneous data type, right? So what he says, data may be same means homogeneous data type, or data may be different, that is heterogeneous data type. So in the storing of data, a need may arise to group these units as single unit. Means while writing program, a situation may arise that we have to use this homogeneous data type as well as heterogeneous data type. Means we have to combine different data types into a single unit. So that thing we are going to discuss in the next class, how it is possible. That is, in the next class we are going to discuss how classification of data type, means how that this data structure is classified. That thing we are going to discuss in the next class. Thank you, students.